So what you see on the table here today is my Gamo MP9. I've gotten a lot of questions about this air gun, so I decided to go ahead and bring it back out and go into a little bit more depth on this pistol. Now, in the past, I did do a 5-shot, 15-yard accuracy group, just so you could see what it would do at that distance. But this time, I'm going to go a little bit, again, a little bit further on this platform. So what we have, again, the Gamo MP9. It's a blowback CO2, single CO2 cartridge, CO2 pistol. It has a pick rail going across the top. Has a charging handle here in the back. It does have a long double action pull. Has a manual safety here. And the trigger has like the little dinghy inside of it, or in the front, so you actually have to depress that to be able to push the trigger back. This is not the magazine release. The magazine release is actually right here. Push that to the side. This is a cover which covers both the CO2 cartridge housing and the stick magazine, which holds 8 pellets or BBs at either end. We have another pick rail on the bottom. I have a hand stop attached to it. It does have a folding stock, as you can see. Now, this stock, unfortunately, is rather flimsy, and they actually do make a metal stock for this, and I actually considered purchasing it, but I don't shoot this pistol enough to warrant me to buy the stock for it, so I just use it as is. I have my little makeshift sling on here because when I do shoot it, I don't like holding on to it or laying it down. And it does have a white front post, which I have white paint on it, and a notch rear, which is adjustable for windage, but not elevation. And the windage is adjustable by that screw there. So that's pretty much on the pistol here. So let's see what the trigger pull is. And I got 7 pounds, 2.3 ounces. Man, that was a big tree that just fell. And of course, I have a optic attached to the front, to the top of it. I did have an optic attached to this when I did my 15-yard accuracy group. That optic had an MOA of 6 MOA, and this one has an MOA of 2 MOA. So I'm actually going to do a farther group with this one. So instead of 15 yards, I'm going to be doing 20 yards. The pellets I'm using will be the H&N Field Target Trophy Green, 5.71 grain. It's an alloy dome pellet. And of course, as usual, first up is the velocity. And for the velocity test, I'm only going to shoot 1 shot over the chrono, just so you can kind of see what its high is, and then I'll do the accuracy test. So this video is taking me a lot longer to make than I had planned for. Unfortunately for me, my MP9 decided it wanted to stop working for me, meaning that when I went to press the trigger, it would not fire. And it was a bummer. So I took it in the house, disassembled it, and found out what was going on. And there's a little pin in the hammer that basically came out and would not let the hammer go forward. So I put a little adhesive on it, put it back into place. Hopefully it won't come out again. And there's another little bushing in the back here that had a crack in it. So I glued that back together. And the barrel was actually threaded into it, into the base here. So I took it out, cleaned the barrel, put a little glue on the barrel, and threaded it back in. So now it works, and now I'm going to do my 20-yard 5-shot group. All right, let's go downrange and see how I did. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know, I would honestly say that's quite impressive for the MP9 at 20 yards on a breezy day. And you can kind of see how breezy it is. But I'm impressed with that group. So, in conclusion, the Gamo MP9, which has been discontinued for quite some time now, it's an awesome little pistol, I must say. Aside the fact of it not wanting to work for me and having to take it apart to fix it. But I will say that if you have to go inside this pistol, it's actually really easy. Really, really easy. There's only 3 screws holding the inside skeleton together. So, and once you take the 2 halves apart, you know, I'd take a picture of it, but even still, it's really, really simple, surprisingly. I had a viewer ask me, is this thing worth hunting with? No. But if you're shooting small pests within 10 yards, using the right pellets, you should be fine. It's accurate enough. And I think it has enough power, again, within 10 yards. But as you can see from the 20-yard group, that's not bad at all. Although I don't remember what the 15-yard group looked like. I will have to go back and look at the video. But that 20-yard group, I'll take that all day long on a windy day like today. Well, I shouldn't say windy, but breezy. And that's shooting these, again, these H&N Field Target Trophy Green, which is a dome alloy pellet, 5.71 grain pellet. If you can find one, I'd say get it. They're awesome. I guess if I have to say, if I have any dislikes about it, my main gripes is, or my number one gripe I should say, is this these really flexible stock here. Target shooting, it's not great, but if you're doing some action shooting, you're just putting this in your shoulder and pressing the trigger. But choking up on it, target shooting, not really all that great. And I never really was one of this big, this type of magazine, but it works, it's reliable. I'm not going to complain about it. So that's it on the Gamo MP9. So I thought that was going to be the end of the video, but I still have some gas left in this pistol, so I decided to go ahead and use the rest of it, destroying some cans. And I was amazed at how much better the trigger is on this thing. So like I said earlier, this thing crapped out on me during the making of this video, and I took it apart. And again, this thing is easy to take apart. Take out these screws on the side. There's only one that's longer. That's the one in here in the bottom of the grip. Pull the cover off. You have the skeleton or the internals inside. You can pull that right out. There's 3 screws holding that together. Take the 3 screws off. Pull the top cover off, and you're inside of it. And it really isn't much to it. But while you're in there, there's 2 sear surfaces, one on the hammer and one on the sear itself. Take a Dremel, sanding bit, polish it up. Don't really change the geometry or angle of it, but just clean it up, and then grease up the sides where the hammer actually moves, and put some oil on all the little pins and the little and the trigger bar, and put it back together. And man, I didn't do anything to lighten the trigger up, but the trigger pull is so much smoother. I mean, there's really isn't much grease in this thing, so I was quite surprised at that. But doing that, it vastly improved the trigger on this thing. Vastly. Again, didn't change the weight, but the smoothness of it is just night and day. I mean, it really is. And it's really an easy job to do. But you polish those sear surfaces up, and man, it's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to shoot some cans here, and you're not really going to tell about how the trigger is, but you'll see. Well, wasn't expecting that. And I'm out. Let me reload. And I'm reloaded. And that's it. But anyway, as you can see, this is a fun can killer, and it's easy to work on. So that's the end of the video.